Heyo, another quick video here. I'm going to show you something else to look for when buying a used lens. I've got a lens here with a loose internal element. This is a 135mm 2.8 Nikkor, and there's a spanner ring that locks in the elements, and this isn't a lens hood rattle or a barrel rattle, but it's actually a loose internal element rattle. And I'll let you listen really closely and see if you could hear it. See, if you actually hold the lens hood very closely, and if you actually stick your finger, of course it'll put a spot on there, if you put your finger on the front element to see if it's the front element that's loose or not, because that's what it typically is, then you could easily tighten it up. But if it's an internal element, then you're kind of screwed. But I've already put my finger on the front element and tested that, so listen closely. So that's not the lens hood, and it's not the front element, nor is it the aperture ring. That's a loose internal element, and if you got a lens like that, you got to check for it and never buy it. And here's something else to look for. I'm going to let you look in here, and this is why if you're buying a used lens, like if you go to a camera store or something, you either borrow it or you ask for one. Let me see if I could show you here. What we got is Fungus. You see those little white spots right there? They look, there's a white dot in the middle, and they kind of branch out like a little starburst pattern. If I get the light in the right location, then you'll be able to see it. Okay, you see it there at about 11 o'clock. There's another huge one there. There's one at about 1 o'clock. And over here, towards the left, there's 3 honking fungus spots on this lens. This is kind of also why you never buy lenses from Florida or very humid places like Louisiana, because people forget to store desiccants with their lens. And I'm going to show this as a note to another person. This is the serial number on this lens, so they could see that verification. This is a 135 Nikkor, so this lens has got 2 issues. It's got internal element rattle due to a spanner ring being loose, and it's got fungus. There's some fungus among us inside this lens. You don't want that. The fungus, if it's just a couple of spots and you get the lens cheap, you can deal with that. But when it comes to a loose element, that's a big no-no. And taking apart a lens is really a tragedy. As I told you before in the other video, serious thing to check about, it's typically an issue, is checking for loose, checking for this lens does not have that issue, of course, but checking for, you got a snappy aperture, so when you let it go, it snaps back. This lens also, specifically, you can't see it because I can't show it to you, you have to feel it. This lens has a issue with the focus ring. It takes about 40% more pressure to turn it. That's livable, but try to avoid that if you can. If you get the lens cheap, then that's no issue at all. Ultimately, it just makes focusing with 1 or 2 fingers more of a pain in the fanny. So here's a couple things that I had to show you because I didn't have a lens like this to use as a demonstration for you. I haven't actually seen that in quite a while. I've seen more than a few when I worked at the camera store, but that's a loose element rattle, and inside we've got fungus. Some funky fungus. We got crotch rot inside the lens, so that's a couple other things I wanted to tell you to look out for on this lens, on any lens that you purchase. So another little video, instructional information. There's so much stuff to look for. The last video I gave you 95% of what to look for, but I got this other lens as demonstration purposes to show you the remaining bits of what to look for. Well, I told you the last video, but this time I've actually got something to show you instead of just talking about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.